Class 12th, now we will be proceeding with the life cycle of Plasmodium as we discussed earlier at the time of malaria discussion. If you remember, I told you that its causative agent Plasmodium vivax. Basically, you have to study the life cycle of Plasmodium. If you can see that I have drawn a graphical representation here, you have to draw it the same way if ever it comes in exam. You don't have to go much in detail. When you see the refreshers, you will be finding a lot many things there, but I guess this much of diagram is including all those key points which are required to be mentioned. Right, children? So first of all, you have to understand that Plasmodium is actually carried to the human beings by a vector, which is mosquito, and particularly it is Anopheles mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito. I've already told you that males do not bite. They basically feed on the flower nectar, but it's the female who needs to have the blood meal for the nutrition, because she has to lay the eggs. Right, children? So what you have to see is you have to discuss the whole life cycle into two parts. If you can see, I have drawn a line in between just to mark two phases here. One is on the left side, the other one is on the right side, and the left side is basically exogenous phase, where the development of Plasmodium takes place inside the mosquito. Must understand this, because each and every point that I am mentioning here is going to give you a tick so that you can score marks. So one side is actually the exogenous phase, that means outside the human body. So where it is developing? Inside the mosquito, particularly the gut region, right? And endogenous phase is inside the human beings. So please understand this, that whenever we are mentioning exogenous and endogenous, that means exogenous is in mosquito and endogenous is in human beings, right? So here, if you can see, I am writing an M here so that you understand that this whole portion is actually showing you the mosquito gut, and the right side is showing you the human body, right? Three main headings here. Whenever you are going to draw this life cycle, straight away mention three main headings so that in between the filling can be easier for you. The first heading is sporogony. Sporogony is always towards the mosquito side. Schizogony. This, some people call it schizogony, but I call it schizogony. Never mind. Schizogony, it is towards the human body, and in between, if you can see at the bottom, gametogony. Right. This is the transition stage from human beings back to mosquito. So three stages you mentioned. First of all, sporogony inside the mosquito, schizogony inside the human beings, and gametogony. Gametogony takes place in the human beings only, but ultimately it travels back to mosquito. So whenever the mosquito bites, right? Let me clear the screen here. Now children, you have to start with is just listen to me like a story, that sporogony is marked by a stage sporozoite. You will be drawing this stage in your practical copy as well, where the sporozoite of a Plasmodium is there in your syllabus. And children must understand the shape of a sporozoite is somewhat spindle shape, having a nucleus and other cell organelles. So a spindle shaped structure is a sporozoite structure. By this time, mosquito gut is the alimentary canal, that's the the whole digestive tract of the mosquito. It is having a lot many sporozoites within, and just imagine that when it comes into the saliva too, right? And when the mosquito bites a human being, right? When a mosquito bites a human being, at that time all the sporozoites, they get into the human blood portal system. That means now after the bite, the sporozoite, they have entered the human blood. They keep on circulating with the blood to reach their respective site. right? So the mosquito has bitten the human being and all the sporozoites are transferred to the human blood. Here you have to divide the development in at two different locations. If you can see, one location is liver and the other location is RBC. That means when sporozoite has entered the human blood, first of all it will be affecting the liver, and few out of them will be moving to, they will be migrating to RBCs as well. That's why the RBC count also falls. The hemoglobin content also falls during malaria. Right. So two different locations, please remember. One site of attack is liver and the other site of attack is RBC. Whatever development goes in the liver, you call it exoerythrocytic because it is outside the erythrocyte. So the multiplication of a sporozoite outside the erythrocyte in the liver, either you call it exoerythrocytic or you may also call it hepatic development, right? Hepatic multiplication. Anyhow, you just have to mention that the site of multiplication is liver, right, children? When these sporozoites, they attack the liver cells and derive the nutrition, thereby multiplying. Must understand that here one word is used many times, that is schizont, on the basis of which you have written this heading schizogony. Schizont is a spherical structure, ball-like round structure, having many uninucleated merozoites inside. That means whenever this schizon would burst, all the merozoite would go out and infect the rest of the body. Right. So schizont is a spherical structure containing the infection within in the form of uninucleated merozoites. Right, children? Whatever names I am taking, you have to learn them anyhow. Just understand that first site of attack is liver. Sporozoites have entered the liver cells, derived the nutrition, increased in size, multiplied, and then gained a schizont-like structure, right? And since many merozoites are formed here, in that case, there is a pressure built inside leading to the rupture of the schizont. And at the stage of this release, when all the merozoites are released, you call them cryptozoites, dear, because this is the first bursting. So cryptozoites, these cryptozoites would go to other liver cells to attack them to gain more nutrition, and then again they will be making a schizont and being bursted. In that case, they will form metacryptomerozoite, right? In nutshell, I would say, according to boards, this is what is given in the book, right? But if you have to concise it, if you have to just remove any of the confusion, you may also write that these are the merozoites which are released out of the liver. Straight away you can write merozoites too, and you will get the marks for this too. Right, children? So if you remember these two, cryptozoites and metacryptomerozoites, fine. If you don't remember, just write merozoite. Right, children? Now these merozoites are actually out of the liver, and since one site is already attacked and they have undergone the multiplication, they have gone matured, and now they have formed the merozoites, right? This merozoite will be entering RBC. That means site number 2. Already attacked the first site, now attacking site number 2. They will be entering RBC. So now the state will not be exoerythrocytic. Since they have entered RBC, the cycle would be erythrocytic cycle. Understand that, right? That the stage is not exoerythrocytic now. Every developmental stage would be inside the RBC only. That's why you call this much of location. You can see that I have drawn this colored structure just to let you know that this is an RBC only, right? And all the stages are taking place within this only. So this is erythrocytic cycle. Merozoites, they convert into trophozoite. These all are the names of the stages Now this is a circular trophozoite which will be gaining maturity. It will be consuming on the hemoglobin of RBC. So if I write HB here, you have to link it up with that all the developmental stages would be feeding on the hemoglobin of RBC, thereby giving out a waste in the form of hemozoin. Children, if you remember, well and good. So once the protein part of hemoglobin is consumed for the maturation of this stage of plasmodium, the waste is hemozoin, which is released later on. Right. You also call it the malarial pigment. If malarial pigment is detected in the blood, obviously you would say that the person is suffering from malaria. Right. Trophozoite converts into signet ring. Why we are calling signet ring? Ring means you have something in the center. Now this center is a developed vacuole, giving an appearance of a ring, which is known as signet ring. After this step, more maturity is gained, and then the structure becomes amoeboid. And after amoeboid structure, it becomes a spherical structure. Just now I told you a few minutes back that schizont. Now schizont is a spherical body which contains merozoite inside. Right? When this schizont will be rupturing, the merozoite will be coming out. Right? So it's a cyclic form. We started here with the merozoites, then trophozoites, signet ring, amoeboid structure, and then schizont, a spherical structure enclosing all the merozoites within. And here is something that marks the difference. Now out of all these merozoites, some would be differentiated as gametes. Few structures would be differentiated as gametes, and rest of the structures would participate in the cycle again. They will again follow the trophozoite signet. It's a cycle which runs within the RBC only, and at the merozoite stage here, right, only few cells would be differentiating in the form of gametes. Right, children? So just understand here that gametogony also takes place in the human body. If you can see, I have marked two arrows here. One is the symbol for male, the other one is the symbol for female. The male symbol is known as microgametocyte or microgamete, one and the same thing, and the female symbol is megagametocyte or megagamete. So these gametes are also present in the human body only, but if at that time when the human blood is having these micro and megagametocytes, at that time if the anopheles bites again, right, so these gametocytes will be entering the female anopheles body. Right, both the gametes are present there. They will undergo fusion. After fusion, the zygote will be formed, right, and this zygote will be converting into ookinete. So kinete is motile. That means you may say that the process is exflagellation. Right, the process is exflagellation, making the zygote motile, and at that time you will be calling it ookinete. Right, ookinete will grow further and it will develop. It goes into deep into the epithelial gut of the mosquito, and it develops in the form of an oocyst, which later on bursts. It bursts and releases the sporozoites. These sporozoites later on get into the saliva of the mosquito, which when bites the human body again gets into the human body. Right. So what you have to take care at the last, just take a recap of this particular life cycle. I have told you the main structures, why they are called so. Let me clear the screen. So what you have to remember is the first tick you will be getting for the mosquito and human beings, the phases that you are mentioning. Then mosquito side you are mentioning sporogony because the formation of sporozoite is there. Human being side you are mentioning schizogony because the schizont stage is there at the stage of RBC2 and at the stage of liver 2. Here also a schizont is formed, which when burst releases the cryptozoites. right? This is important. Liver as one site and RBC as the other site is supposed to be mentioned. Then doesn't matter whether, if you don't remember these structures, hardly matters. If you have to remember trophozoite and you have to remember merozoite, then micro and mega gametocyte. You should be understanding at what time gametogony is the part of human body only, but once the gametes are formed and if at that time the mosquito bites, right, so these gametes will be transferred to the mosquito only, and all these developmental stages take place in the gut of the mosquito. Right, children? I hope this much is clear to you. Just revise it once. If you have to see the video twice or thrice to understand all this, and you have to remember the main terms here. Life cycle is important in the form of a flow chart only, so you have to learn it accordingly. You need not to go in much of literature to explain this, right? This flow chart is enough and self-explained, right, children? So I am concluding this video here, and we'll be proceeding further in the next video.